back to another video. Right up here to the create one. So we're going to create a YouTube one, and I'm going to go ahead and pick Ubuntu 18 LXC. That's pretty much all you have to do. So we're going to go here to create Antsle. I'm going to close down here. A couple of housekeeping things that will make your experience a little bit better. So you see at the top we have general, snapshots, virtual drives, virtual networks, USB, and backups. We're going to go to virtual networks. Right now we have one NIC. This is a pass-through NIC. So what we want to do is actually create a new virtual NIC. And based on the back of your Antsle, each one of these are ports on the back of your Antsle that you can hook a network cable into, and you can assign IPs to. So you can actually have these things go to different routers, put on different VLANs, pretty much your heart content. So we'll go ahead and do BR0. All right, so now we have our virtual NIC set up here. And this is right here, the bridge NIC. So we're going to go back here to our dashboard and to our newly found YouTube Antsle that we created. We're going to hit start. We're going to give this a little bit to start here. And we're going to bring up PuTTY. And we're going to get our server prepped. All right, we're finally in. So now what we're going to do is actually SSH into our other Antsle here. And as you can see, our Antsle is 14. So this is what we're going to SSH into here. So our server's up. Oh no, here we go again. Alright. So we're clearing the screen here. So a couple of things when you create, especially your Linux containers, you always want to make sure that you get the proper updates, of course. So we're going to go ahead and run a command. This is our app update, and we're going to app upgrade at the same time. So this should take a little bit, not too long. So what this is doing is getting anything that should be updated on our system, and we're actually upgrading all the packages while we're at it. So while this is downloading, after this I'm going to install one of my text editors that I like to use. I like to use Nano for this. And in this web series, you're going to see me get Nano for every single one of these. I don't want to create a template with all of these updates in here and just start creating containers from that. So from this prompt here, you want to go ahead and say yes, restart anything that it shut down while it was upgrading. All right. So now what we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and install Nano on here just because that's one of my favorite text editors. You're going to see why throughout this setup here. So we have Nano. The next thing that we're actually going to do is earlier we added that bridge NIC. This is going to allow us to kind of bypass all of the pass-through stuff that this Antsle actually has. So that address 10.1.1.14, that's something that's actually passed through to the actual Antsle itself and then goes to your network. So instead of messing with a lot of configuration files, what this does is automatically bridges that NIC and allows your DHCP server within your network to assign this thing an IP. So what we're going to do is actually go, and again, all of these commands, if I haven't stated before, will be on the website. The information will be in the description. So don't worry if you don't catch every single command on here. Just kind of sit back, relax, and kind of see how easy this is. So what we're going to do is change directories because we're going to go to the net plan. So when we're in the net plan, we actually have a configuration here. And this configuration allows us to add an extra NIC. So we can add multiple NICs here, or in Linux terms, etho ports. So we're going to do Nano. All right. So another cool thing that I like with this, I'm going to resize this window here so you guys get everything recorded here. All right, that's better probably. So what we're going to do is actually go down and prep this line. Again, this is Nano, so everything's fairly easy. So I'm just going to select this line here, and I'm going to do a right click. And what this does is just copies the line for me. And I'm just going to change this to etho1. So that's how Linux actually goes. So based on how many NICs that you actually have, it signs from your 0 subset. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, so on and so forth. So to save out of Nano, just shrink this window a little bit again. All right, to save out of Nano, you hit your Control and 0. And it's going to ask you, would you like to save this? Just hit enter. And it says it actually wrote your files down here, and it wrote how many lines. And then you can do your Control X. This Control X exits out of the program, and your file is actually saved. But that's not it. We actually have more that we need to do with this net plan. Now that we have that configuration in there, we can actually test that configuration or try it out. So you can do your sudo netplan try. What this is going to do is actually try that connection to make sure there's no issues. You can let it count down or it'll revert and it won't save it, or you can hit enter and it'll actually save it. So if you want to actually go and see if your new IP address is actually added to here from your DHCP server, all you have to do is just IP A. So as you can see, I do have an IP from my network assigned to this. So I'm going to go to my browser, and you won't be able to see the browser address. What I'm doing is actually typing this address in, and it should take us to a page, the site can't be reached because there's nothing on this server yet. So the cool part is now we're ready to actually get to the nitty-gritty of installing Apache. So the install Apache command is app install Apache 2. And what this is going to do is just do the same install, kind of like the update upgrade command that we did earlier, but this is downloading this package to this server. So this is what's turning this Linux distribution into a web server now. And after this gets done, we're actually going to be able to see the website running. Okay, so that was a quick install. So another command allows us to get the status. So if we do this right here, we actually see the status of our web server. It says active and running. So this is a little bit of log information just so you can see kind of what's going on. And again, you can get out of long log pages by control Xing out of those pages. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go back to this web page, and it already automatically refreshed for me. And now we actually have a web server running on this Antlet. So you don't want to back up your Antlet just yet, because there's a little bit more that we have to do here. We just have a web server. If we want to put WordPress on there, we're going to have to actually install MySQL. So again, this is the command app install Mandarin server, and this is the server and the client. So we're going to install it. Again, don't worry about not getting all of these commands, as there will be a tutorial link in the description on my website that you can go and you can hammer out the server with no problems. So we're installing this MySQL database. So once we get done, the key piece to this is you need to make sure that you secure your database. This kind of tutorial, this session isn't going through securing your actual Linux distribution. That'll be in a whole nother one. But this is right here is just setting up to get your web page going and get you looking at progress. So the next thing we're going to do is we're actually going to do the MySQL secure installation. And what this does is, again, just allows you to secure your MySQL database. So we're going to say yes to this prompt. Do you want to set the root password? Remove anonymous users, yes. Disallow root login remotely, yes. You don't want remote users logging into your MySQL database remotely. You're hosting this thing at your house, so that's not needed. Literally, you can go into your own network with your own user through a VPN if you needed to. Remove test databases, yes. This is a breeding ground for, of course, hackers, because if you leave this there, they'll be able to actually find backdoors into your main database. And rebuild privileges. And this just pretty much rebuilds all the stuff that we did. So now that we have our MySQL instance up, we're actually going to install our PHP instance. I can get the command there. All right. So here's again our app install PHP and PHP MySQL. So these are two packages. So we're putting these things together. You can do that with those spaces. And I'm going to say yes, install this. And guys, we are almost there. Once we get this installed, we're going to be able to then test our PHP. And what that means is we have our Apache server. So we're creating kind of this web server. So the web server, we can serve up HTML pages just fine. The next thing is we need to run our server-side scripts. And this is where PHP comes in. So our PHP is installed here. Oops. Let's see. So we're going to go ahead and use that Nano command again, and we're going to create a file in our web page now to test our PHP installation. So this takes us to our new file. Nano actually says this is a new file, and there's only a couple of lines. Actually, it's only one line. We just spread it out. You have your PHP tags, and you have your PHP info, and you have your parentheses.